The rain hammered the abandoned chapel as Eleanor stood alone at the altar in ruined lace. Her wedding dress, once a cascade of ivory silk, now hung in muddy tatters against her skin. The groom had fled before dawn with a rich widow, leaving only a scrawled note of betrayal. She had walked 6 miles through the storm, her bare feet bleeding, her spirit utterly crushed. The town of Dry Creek watched from curtained windows, their whispers sharper than any thorn. She stumbled into the livery stable seeking shelter, her sobs lost in the howling wind. A stoic wrangler named Silas looked up from his work, his eyes holding no pity. He was a man carved from the same harsh plains that broke lesser souls each winter. He said nothing, only draped a dry horse blanket over her trembling shoulders in silence. She noticed a massive black stallion in the corner stall, his coat gleaming like polished jet. The horse was Obsidian, a legend known for throwing every rider who tried to tame him. His eyes burned with untamed fire, and even the bravest cowboys kept their distance. Silas spoke at last, his voice low and rough as he described the stallion's history. The beast had been captured running wild with mustangs, his spirit never broken by man. He told her that Obsidian could sense fear and would bow to no one. But then something shifted. The stallion's ears pricked forward as Eleanor's weeping filled the stable. He pawed the ground softly, not in rage, but in a strange and gentle rhythm. Silas watched, his stoic mask cracking as Obsidian lowered his great head toward the woman. The horse stepped closer, his muzzle brushing her muddy veil with a tenderness unknown. Eleanor raised her hand and touched his forehead, feeling a warmth that stilled her grief. In that moment, the stallion bent his front legs and knelt before her on the straw. Silas breathed a single word, a prayer of disbelief, for he had never seen this. He knew then that the horse had chosen her, recognizing a kindred wounded spirit. He opened the stall gate fully and offered her the reins with steady, weathered hands. She asked no questions, simply gathered her ruined skirts and climbed onto the stallion's back. Obsidian rose with a gentle power, as if carrying a treasure too precious to jostle. They walked out of the stable into the pale morning light that followed the storm. The townsfolk gathered, their mouths agape, as the muddy bride sat astride the untamable beast. Silas mounted his own mare and rode beside her, his presence a quiet shield. He led them out of town, past the smirking saloon and the gossiping mercantile crowd. The groom, newly married to his wealthy widow, stood on the boardwalk with a sneer. He shouted that she looked ridiculous, a beggar on a stolen horse, unworthy of notice. Eleanor did not flinch. She simply looked down at him with a new, calm dignity. She nudged Obsidian forward, and the stallion broke into a trot, then a full gallop. The wind tore through her muddy veil and tangled hair, but she laughed for the first time. They rode across the open prairie, the stallion's hooves pounding like a defiant drumbeat. Silas watched her ride, a rare smile touching his lips, for he understood such release. He had lost his own bride years ago to cholera, and he recognized healing when seen. They reached the high ridge where the valley sprawled below in a patchwork of green. Eleanor pulled Obsidian to a halt, her chest heaving, her heart finally feeling truly alive. She dismounted and threw her arms around the stallion's neck, sobbing words of gratitude. Silas approached quietly, handing her a canteen of water and a piece of dried meat. He told her that the stallion was now hers, a gift with no strings attached. She protested, but he insisted that a horse like Obsidian chooses only one rider. He said the beast had seen her soul, and that bond could never be undone. They made camp on the ridge, and Silas spoke more words than he had in years. He shared his own tale of loss, of burying his young wife under a cottonwood. Eleanor listened, realizing that his stoic silence had been a fortress around a shattered heart. In the days that followed, she learned to ride like the wind, her confidence blooming. Her muddy rags were replaced by practical riding clothes, but her spirit was the true change. Silas taught her to rope and mend fences, to find purpose in the rhythm of work. He never spoke of love, but his actions wove a tapestry of devotion around her. Obsidian followed her everywhere, nuzzling her shoulder and nickering at her approach. Word spread across the territory of the bride who tamed the untamable black stallion. The groom, now struggling with a shrewish wife, heard the tales and burned with regret. He rode out to the ridge one day, demanding Eleanor return with him to civilization. She stood beside Obsidian, her hand resting on his muscular neck, and simply laughed. The stallion pinned his ears and stopped, and the groom fled in fear. Silas stepped from the cabin, his rifle in hand, but he did not need it. Eleanor turned to him, her eyes clear, and said she had found her true home. She kissed his weathered cheek, and he finally allowed himself to hold her close. They married on the ridge at sunset, with Obsidian as their witness and guest. Her wedding dress was simple cotton, but it was clean and chosen with love. The stallion wore a garland of wildflowers, and he knelt once more for her. The valley below seemed to hold its breath, honoring the union of two healed souls. They built a ranch together, a haven for broken horses and wandering souls alike. Eleanor became known as the Stallion Queen, her muddy past transformed into legend. Silas's heart, once frozen, now beat with a warmth he thought forever lost. Obsidian lived many years, soaring foals that carried his gentle fierceness forward. The mud-stained dress was framed in the barn, a reminder of that fateful day. It symbolized that the lowest moment can be the foundation for the highest flight. Travelers came to hear the story of the bride and the beast who chose her. They learned that redemption often arrives on hooves, not in carriages of gold. The Wrangler and his bride grew old together, their love deepening with each season. Obsidian passed peacefully, buried on the ridge where Eleanor first found her freedom. His grave was marked with a stone carved in the shape of a kneeling horse. And every year, on the anniversary of that ride, wild mustangs gathered there. So ends the legend of the Muddy Bride and the stallion who made her royalty. Thank you for witnessing this tale of resilience and love from West Old Stories Official. If your heart was stirred, please subscribe to West Old Stories Official and like this video. Share your thoughts in the comments and tell us who or what helped you rise again.